besides the normal equipment, try 2 plates in his forearm, 21 screws, 4 pins in his hand, and yes, even a special wide receiver's NFL glove to try to change gears. But Davey is in the car and ready to go. And Davey, how do you feel?
Gary, I feel pretty good right now. I've got a couple of sore spots, but nothing real major. We're going to run to the first caution and then turn this thing over to Dorsey.
A little bit of a secret now is how you're going to change gears. Show us that glove you figured out.
Well, it's the NFL wide receiver's glove. Guys down there at Health South Rehabilitation Department, they came up with the idea, and it seems to have a better feel to it than the Velcro we used at Talladega a couple weeks ago.
Well, Davey will be in the car until the first caution flag, and when he gets out, he will give way to a 2-time road racing champion, Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, a big opportunity for you, but a lot of pressure.
Wonderful opportunity. I got to thank Robert Yates and people from Ford for giving it to me. This is probably the best race car and definitely one of the best teams you could ever hope to drive for. The pressure is definitely on because I'm an experienced road race guy, and with a car like this, I should do awfully well. Our big concern is Davey. You know, his health, getting him out safe and me in and not losing a lap. If we can stay on the same lap, we're going to race him today.
And you've won here before, and you led here last year in a Winston Cup car that wasn't nearly this strong.
Absolutely right. We've been struggling a little bit with this car, getting it up to speed, but this is the best crew to take care of the situation, and I feel awful good today. I'd like to win this race.
Well, NASCAR's version of the Dream Team, the Oval Ace, Davey Allison, and the Road Racing Ace, Dorsey Schrader. Can they pull it off today? We'll find out in a few minutes. Bob?
Thank you, Jerry. Well, the 39 drivers that are about to start the 90-lap race will be competing on a slightly changed track. Since last year, it's been lengthened 0.3 of a mile due to the addition of the inner loop. It consists of 4 quick turns at the end of the backstretch near a historically difficult part of the track that's seen a lot of crashes and, of course, last year's fatality. While track president John Saunders says the change was contemplated many years ago to create a spectator area, we asked John if the changes were made in the interest of safety to slow speeds down before turn 5.
Not at the time. You know, there were some incidents in 1991, and as a result of some of the changes we've made out of there, some of the speeds have come down. But it was an area of the racetrack, given the infield roads for spectator access, the acquisition of the new land. It was an area of the racetrack that gave us the best opportunity at the at least expense to expand and bring more people to the Bud at Glen.
Well, Ned Jarrett will be stationed just past the inner loop near what was turn number 5. That's now turn number 9. And Ned, I guess there's been mixed reaction on the part of drivers and crew chiefs.
Yes, there has, Bob. In fact, I think most of the crew chiefs like the fact that they put in the loop. The speeds, the top speed has been reduced some 7 or 8 miles an hour over what they used to come into these turns at. They used to go at about 175 miles an hour. Now they reach a peak of about 167. Now this has allowed the crew chiefs to readjust the gearing in the car to accommodate other parts of the track to utilize the maximum horsepower so that they don't over-rev the engines. Now from the driver's perspective, some of them are a little concerned because when they come up over the hill out of turn 4, they're on that turn before they realize it, and they can't identify where they need to make the right-hander into the loop. So that's a big concern of theirs. And then some of the drivers say, well, you know, you add more turns, then you create more places where you can have accidents. Well, the more optimistic ones will say, yeah, but it creates another place that you can set up a pass, too. So, you know, it's hard to tell exactly how their feelings are, and they aren't going to know until this race is over. It takes about 3.5 seconds to go through that loop. In fact, it added almost 4 seconds to the lap speed here in qualifying. And you see those cones back there? Say, well, all that's holding the drivers back from coming straight through is those cones. Well, they can't do that because there's a NASCAR official stationed out here, and if they come straight through and pick up that 3.5 or 4 seconds, they'll be penalized a stop-and-go penalty, and they'll lose a lot more than they would gain by coming straight through. You say, well, okay, how about the last lap? Now, if they came straight through there, picked up 2 or 3 positions, got back to the start-finish line, be too late for a stop-and-go penalty. No, NASCAR's thought of that as well. It'll be a 30-second penalty. They'll just add 30 seconds onto their scorecard, let it fall where they will. So that'll hurt them a lot more than they'd pick up coming straight through there. You know, the jury is still out as far as what the loop will do to the racing here. A couple of drivers said you're going to see more spins and more actions in that loop than we ever saw in turn 5. One of them said, hey, I hope ESPN is ready for that action. I think we are. The track has something new, so do we. And Bob, you know, I might be more intrigued with watching our new innovation here than I will be watching the cars negotiate that loop.
Well, I know what you mean. That is the cable cam that you may have read about in USA Today. 1,000-foot-long mechanism. 2 individuals in the basket, one a driver, one a photographer. It can move up to 50 miles an hour. Cable cam developed by Crest Films Limited and Cable Cam Systems of Canada. And we hope that it will add to our coverage of that critical area, the inner loop, new here at Watkins Glen. And, of course, so is the cable cam. Well, another critical area of the racetrack is turn 1 after they come off that long, fast main straightaway. Benny Parsons is going to be situated down there. Benny?
Bob, until just a few minutes ago, I had the most intriguing spot on the racetrack, turn 1. But the rain has stopped that because it's dry here. These fellows now are concerned about the back part of the racetrack where it's wet. But they're still going to start 39 cars. They're going to come down a very short straightaway, and they've got to funnel into one line as they go through turn 1. And if you get caught on the outside, you're liable to go off in the grass. It's really a very difficult corner the first lap. As the race wears on, it becomes an excellent place to pass because the cars only run 65 miles per hour through this corner. So if you can catch someone running, say, 63 miles per hour, you just simply drive up beside him, you try to outbrake him, and get on the inside. If he doesn't want to let you go by, believe me, he'll be out in the grass, and I'll be down talking to him, Bob. And, I tell you what, John Kernan, are you at a pole sitter yet?
Yeah, Benny, I've made my way down to the front of the starting grid, and Dale Earnhardt. And Dale, you know, has had some tough times this summer. It's the worst slump he's ever had since joining the Richard Childress team. Went from second in the points all the way back to 8th. Dale, I guess if you're going to turn a slump into a hot streak, no better place to start that than right here from the pole.
That's true. The guys did a super job with this car and the engine, and we're happy to be up here. We'll see if we can stay here for a while.
Now, you know, the slump and everything, a lot of rumors about where you might be going. You might be going off on yourself, but this week you say you and Childress are actually negotiating to extend your partnership.
Well, there's not much negotiation about it. It's just we're going to sign a longer contract with Goodwrench, and that's in the stages of being put together right now, and should have something to talk about here in a month or so.
That's Dale Earnhardt, your pole sitter. Now, you don't often think of him as a great road course racer, but listen to this, Bob. 16 top 5 finishes. One of the people to beat today.
Dale Earnhardt eligible for $30,400 in Unocal bonus money. However, the last time that a race was won from the pole here was way back in 1986. That was Tim Richmond. Stand by for NASCAR Winston Cup race. North Carolina in the number 42 Mellow Yellow Pontiac, qualifying at 116.416. Starting third, hometown favorite Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, the Quaker State Ford car number 26. And then road racing expert Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia, driving the number 5 Tide Chevrolet. Mark Martin will go from fifth starting position in the Valvoline Ford car number 6. Alongside will be Bill Elliott driving the Budweiser Ford car number 11. Dale Jarrett has nailed down the 7th starting position. He's from Hickory, North Carolina, drives the number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet. And then Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, driving the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 2. Another local favorite, Jeff Bodine, starts from 9th starting position in the Motorcraft Ford car number 15. And then Ernie Irvin, the defending champion of this event. He also won here in a Busch Grand National race earlier in the year. He's driving the Kodak Film Chevrolet car number 4. Then comes current point leader Davey Allison from Hueytown, Alabama in the Haviland Ford car number 28. And Wally Dallenbach Jr. from Basalt, Colorado in the Keystone Beer Ford car number 16. The rest of the starting lineup, Ken Schrader and Bobby Hillen will go from row number 9. The 10th row, Darrell Waltrip, who won last weekend on a road course at Topeka, Kansas, and Morgan Shepherd in car number 21. The 11th starting position, row number 11, Alan Kowicki and Richard Petty. 10th, Terry Labonte and Derek Cope. Starting in the 11th row will be Todd Bodine, as 3 Bodine brothers will go in today's race. Scott Sharp, the current SCCA Trans Am champion, starts outside row number 11. The 12th row has Ted Musgrave in car number 55 and Harry Gant in 33. The 13th row, Michael Waltrip in car 30, Hut Strickland in number 12. Row number 14, Rick Mast and Dave Marcus. The 15th row, Bobby Hamilton and Ed Faree. The 16th row, Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Hensley. The 17th row consists of Jerry O'Neill and Greg Sachs, who had an accident here during the practice and flipped his car over near turn number 2. Dick Trickle and Bob Shack hold down row number 18. The 19th row consists of Denny Wilson and Mike Potter, and all in row number 20 will be James Hilton driving car number 48. Well, we have a short delay here because of a shower that passed.
1970 at Riverside. Richard Petty and Bobby Allison duel once again, this time with Allison spinning after starting from the pole. Petty takes the win, just one of 5 career victories at this road course facility.
I remember I won the race, and I remember that was the second race that I'd run after I dislocated my shoulder at Darlington in May. I remember racing with him because I think he went in the first corner, spun out or something. I just know that I wound up winning the race, and he was the one I raced with.
But Ricky, you're back here starting in the 4th position. It's getting a lot tougher out here on these road courses these days.
Well, it's kind of hard to talk to you. One thing with this crazy helmet on, I'm not used to this thing. The competition does get better. We finished 2nd here at this race last year, and we finished, I guess, 4th at Walking at Sears Point. But I think what happens is the competition is getting a little bit keener. The equipment is getting better through the field. A lot more people take the road courses a lot more seriously maybe than they used to. And really, probably the best fact is that we've come to these racetracks so many times now that people kind of learn them. You can just about drive these racetracks in your sleep.
You know, last year you had such a great year. This year got off to a slow start, and now you're picking things back up again. Really been running great the last few weeks. What happened? Have you been able to pinpoint how the slow start came about, and, have you made some changes to get back to the front?
Well, it's pretty much been a major overhaul in the race team since last year, and Gary Dehart took over as crew chief, and a lot of major internal changes, and it's just taken us a while to get our act together. And the car's been on the front row 3 or 4 times. We've got a pole position this year. We've finished in the top 5 in recent weeks quite a few times, and it's coming together. I couldn't be happier about it. We've climbed all the way up to 6th in the points, and maybe an outside shot at winning a championship, but not really that much of a threat. But the biggest thing we're doing is just trying to get this team regrouped, and it's been very competitive. We really couldn't ask for it to be doing anything any different other than maybe see a few more win columns.
That's Ricky Rudd. He's looking to break into the win column today, Bob.
And he starts 4th in the Budweiser at the Glen in the Tide Chevrolet. Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's proven over the years that he's a winner on any type of racetrack. Here's a closer look at Ricky Rudd.
I always tried to start off at the top. I don't know why. Not that I thought that I was that good, but just I felt like if you wanted to be good at something, you ran with the best. And at 16, I wanted to go to the Indianapolis 500.
Growing up in Virginia, open-wheel vehicles led to Rudd's love affair with racing. After finding success on the go-kart circuit at a young age, he headed toward motorbikes. When Indy became out of the question, he looked toward stock cars. He worked his way through the ranks, getting breaks from the likes of Richard Childress, until one crash in Daytona almost ended it all.
My eyes were swelled up so much that when I'd go into the corner, my eyelids were so swelled up over my eyes that the G-force and all the fluid would pull my eyelids or my eyebrows over top of my eyes where I couldn't see. So the only way to get by without it happening was to take duct tape and tape all that extra skin up to my forehead and then pull my goggles on. And that was sort of my own personal triumph to come back and win. And it just, for a while there, I was worried, not only how long I'd be out of the race car seat, but would my career be over with? Because I had an equilibrium problem with the dizziness that I knew all the other injuries would heal, but the dizziness and such possibly could have stayed with me the rest of my life. And had that happened, there's no way I could have continued a career in racing, and that's what I was concerned about.
Here they come off the 7th corner. Who's going to win it? They're side by side. Rusty is well off the track. He cannot win it, and Ricky Rudd does. Unbelievable.
Road courses are where Rudd has made his mark in NASCAR with 3 victories to his credit. It's a skill Rudd thinks is inbred.
I think either you have it or you don't. I think if you don't have it, I think you can work on your skills and get better at it. I think that the great road racers, you have to have some kind of born-in talent. The technique that I use is not
if you wrote a textbook description of how to heel-toe downshift, what I do is not in the textbook. It just, you have to take what they give you, the skills, and you have to make it work for yourself, and that's sort of what I've done with the footwork. It just works good for me. It's not that it's right, and you can take the next guy, you'd probably take Rusty, put the foot cam in his car, Rusty Wallace, and he's very successful, or Mark Martin or whoever, and watch their footwork, and it's going to be, all three of them will be different. But all three of you can run out front on road courses, and it just has to do with the way what adapts to you the best.
Controversy overshadowed another strong performance at Sears Point in 1991 and may have cost Ricky a road course victory.
I didn't know what the reason for the black flag was. I mean, I knew it had something probably to do with that bumping incident. But on the other hand, you know, they tell us in the last couple of laps of the race, anything goes. My argument was, what do they really want? Do they want a good, clean show where nobody ever rubs anybody ever again? So where do you draw the line, or how do you draw the line, you know? That's the argument.
Despite moments of controversy during his career, Rudd has delivered on the track, including a second-place points finish in 1991. He credits a strong workout regimen for keeping him on top.
I'll tell you something that's helped me more than anything is weightlifting. The aggressive attitude, I don't look for trouble. I hope I've got the respect of most people. I mean, like I say, I don't go out looking for trouble. And not too many people give me a hard time. And same token, I try to, you know, I don't give anybody else a hard time, and it works pretty good that way. But I think had I not got into some of these knockdown, drag-out battles in the beginning, you couldn't race the way I'm racing now.
Certainly one of the favorites for today's event, Ricky Rudd, who has gotten out of his car as the track drying continues here at Watkins Glen. Well, you saw him beat the other road course NASCAR specialist, Rusty Wallace, in that piece a few years ago. And John Kernan is down there with Rusty.
You may notice Rusty is not sitting in his car. He's climbed out of it, just waiting a little while. You know, we just saw the finish here at Watkins Glen between you and Ricky. How does that stand out in your mind? Do you remember that vividly?
I lost it. I remember that. He beat me on that one. I guess I won in '87, and I think I won it again later. But, yeah, that was a neat last lap. I got on outside of him coming off the last turn and just got to rearing out in the grass and stayed in the throttle hoping that, you know, I could get some bite. But that grass, it doesn't bite as good as asphalt.
Some changes on your team. You know, Buddy Parrott coming on. How is that going to affect the rest of the season, do you think?
It's going to be great. I mean, already, I tell you, I messed up qualifying. I shook the thing loose coming off the second to last turn, or else, I mean, I had one heck of a track record coming because the car's been flying all the time up here. But Buddy's really good at the chassis. He's really good at organization. He's treating everybody great, and the guys really respect him. I mean, he's 52 years old. He's a pretty mature individual. He's been around for a long time, and so he's bringing a lot of knowledge to the team.
You know, we were supposed to start this race 25 minutes ago. Guys have been sitting in your cars on pit road. You're out wandering around. How tough is it going to be once we get this thing started to stay patient and not get into trouble?
It won't be tough. You know, we went through the same thing last year. I remember it raining, us sitting over here about the same spot where we are right now, waiting for it to start. And once it got started, I had a pretty good race. Lost some brakes late into the race. They had to make a charge from 21st up to 1st. Rudd and I both did because we had problems qualifying. But I'm excited about the race. I feel good. I just feel bad I screwed up qualifying. I got to start in 8th place because I felt like I had a pole-sitting car.
What about the rumors that are flying now around link Rusty Wallace with Ford?
Man, there's no truth to that at all. Mike Mulhern from Winston-Salem, he's a writer. He writes a lot of wrong stuff just for like for grins, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he quoted it. He quoted that in the paper, and that's erroneous. You know, Pontiac's been with me for a long time. Yeah, we're down a little bit right now, but we're working real hard to get this Pontiac going again. And let me tell you, I've been around for a long time. What goes around comes around. Sometimes the Fords are tough, and sometimes the Pontiacs were tough. I remember in the '88 and '89, I was just flat untouchable with a Pontiac. It'll come back.
It's Rusty Wallace, Bob, and what better place for him to start that comeback than right here at Watkins Glen?
Rusty, one of 6 drivers who did register a win in 1991, but hasn't won so far this year. Look at the tremendous crowd on hand here at Watkins Glen, waiting to see the start, and we're waiting also. Stay with us because the start isn't too far away.
bit of weather not going to dampen the spirits of this wonderful race crowd that's been able to come here to watch, hopefully, a 90-lap race today, and it is clearing here behind us on pit road. Speaking about Ford rumors, even though Rusty Wallace said no, there's no Ford in his future, someone who probably has a better idea that he thinks next week at Michigan is Hut Strickland. Hut, the rumors are you will be in a Ford next Sunday.
Well, we sure will, Jerry. We're looking forward to it. We feel like the Ford's been the way to go this year, and they've won an awful lot of races, and so we had to make our decision and go with it.
Now, next year, it's already been announced that you will not be back with Bobby Allison.
Well, it really is. I'll tell you, it was probably one of the toughest decisions I ever had to make in my life. And, I kind of felt like I'm walking out on my best friends or my brothers or something. But, I felt like in order for, for me to better my career and for them to get better, a change was the best thing for us both to do. And, that was the best thing for us.
Now, the rumor is that you're leaving what we consider to be a prince of a guy, Bobby Allison, to go work with the king.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm talking to him and along with some other car owners too, and I really can't say right now where I might end up. And I know Richard's talking to an awful lot of drivers too. So, silly season's just begun, so it's just there's no telling where I'm liable to end up.
And you can't envy Bobby Allison. He told me early in the week, guys, that in 2 days he had 41 applications for this ride and a very competitive ride for next year. He even got a note in the mail from Bob Jenkins, I think. He wanted a couple laps to see how he would do. But let's go up pit road to John Kernan. John?
Give you guys a few minutes, and who knows what you're going to come up with. We talk about Rusty Wallace. We talk about Ricky Rudd road courses. But this guy right here, there are several of these road course races, Mark, in the past few years that you could have very easily wound up in victory lane.
Well, we just missed out. We've run second several times and third several times, and really had good shots to win a few times and had some kind of problems happen to us and all. We've had some real good runs on road courses, and like we said earlier, talking, John, there's a lot of drivers that have been overlooked as good road racers, and there's more to a road course race than Rusty and Ricky. Of course, Ernie's proven that point real well lately. But there's a lot more in the hunt than just those three.
What's been the difference as of late? We've seen some really good competition here on the road courses. Is it just a familiarity, or the equipment better? What is it?
I don't really know. I wasn't around when that was really getting all started and coming up. I didn't start running Winston Cup until 88 and 89. It was until 89 that I was really competitive for a top 5 spot on a regular basis. So, I don't know what has changed. I know our car is better than it was even at that time. But I just think that over the course of a long period of time, eventually the cream rises to the top, and that's pretty much what you see. Teams get their equipment better, and drivers get their skills, honed in a little bit closer, and you get more dialed in. And the races have gotten more competitive on the road courses as they have on the ovals.
Now, because of the competition, you can't lay back and take it easy, but yet, can you baby the car at all? You have to take care of the equipment on a road course because things will break.
I don't really know. I'll promise you, in my own mind, I believe I drive as fast as I can go if it's the first 8 inches of the race or the last 8 inches of the race. Now, I'm not going to drive faster than what I feel the equipment will go or will stand, but I'd never stroke or take it easy. If I'm saving something, it's because I believe I need to, and I won't believe I need to until I get on into this race. Then, like at Martinsville, we felt a need as the race got along to save our brakes and go a little bit easier, and that we did. But you don't plan it. If I start getting a spongy brake pedal, then I'll feel at that point that I can't go as, I'm going to have to start lifting sooner for the corners or whatever.
Mark Martin, he'll start 5th today, looking for his 2nd win this year, guys.
And his best performance here at Watkins Glen, he finished 2nd in 1989. Patiently, they wait with a lot of enthusiasm. The fans here at Watkins Glen getting set for the Budweiser at the number of people have been waiting very patiently to hear the sound of racing engines. They now hear it, and they settle back for 90 laps of competition in the Budweiser at the Glen. Northeast race fans have been very patient, and now they are set to see some action in this event. 39 cars and drivers are set to go in this event. You can see Richard Petty, who will lead the field for the first lap and then fall back into his 18th starting position. There's King Richard as part of the farewell tour. He leads the field in his final performance at various racetracks. Since this is the only race that is held at Watkins Glen during the year, his car is at the front of the field. The engines have been fired. They're warming up on pit road. They'll take a couple of laps, and then we'll get the green flag for the Budweiser at the Glen, race number 18 in the series. That's the shot from our cable cam that will be covering the action in the new inner loop at the end of the backstretch, the new creation here at Watkins Glen. And you can see that the stands that were created in this area are also full, and the people are waving at our camera, and they are set to go. There is the new inner loop coming off of turn number 4. They come down the backstretch and then enter turns 5, 6, 7, and 8, the new inner loop.
This is unbelievable, isn't it, Bob? I've never seen so many people in my life.
And they got wetted down pretty well about an hour and 10 minutes ago, but they're dry now, and I'm telling you, they are enthusiastic, aren't they?
Hey, there's a seat. Man, I thought it was a sellout. I saw a seat, Bob.
You know, most of the grandstands are full, but most of the people are just standing around the fences here, lining this 2.4-mile racetrack. Over 100,000 people have gathered here for the weekend. Hey, where's the inn here?
Uh-oh, there he is.
All right.
This is something else.
Yeah, it's a great festive atmosphere here at Watkins Glen. And I hope that we're able to have a full race, a full 90 laps, and give the fans what they have come here to see, some great racing activity. Let's refresh your memory on the starting lineup for this race. Dale Earnhardt is the pole sitter at 116.6 in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Kyle Petty will start outside of row number 1 in the mellow yellow Pontiac, car number 42. Brad Bodine starts third in the Quaker State Ford, car number 26, and then Ricky Rudd outside of row number 2 in the Tide Chevrolet, car number 5. Batesville, Arkansas, Mark Martin, the Valvoline Ford, car number 6 is 5th. Then Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Ford, car number 11. Dale Jarrett starts 7th. Outside of that row will be Rusty Wallace from St. Louis. Jeff Bodine starts in 9th position, flanked by Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California. 11th starting spot goes to Davey Allison, getting relief from Dorsey Schrader. Wally Dallenbach goes from 12th starting spot. Ken Schrader starts in 13th position. Alongside will be Bobby Hillen in car number 31. The 10th row, Darrell Waldrop and Morgan Shepard. Then Alan Kowicki and Richard Petty, Harry Labonte and Derry Cope. And there is the rest of the starting lineup as the cars move through the S's, through turns number 2, 3, and number 4, leading on to the back stretch. And Ned, everything is looking pretty good out your way?
Yeah, it's looking much better, Bob. The portions of turn 9 are still a little bit down, but not really in the groove. As the cars go around a time or two, I think just going through here twice will get it in very good shape.
Well, Ned, they tell me that they're going to run 5 pace laps. That's to be sure that these engines, transmissions, and gears all get extremely warm before they start this race. Remember, these cars have been sitting on pit road for 2 or 3 hours and not cranked up, so they've got to get everything up to operating temperature, and I'm told 5 laps.
Well, I believe that will do it then. I believe that'll get the racetrack in good shape, at least in this area.
And there is the cable cam. Now, remember, this thing is on a cable, and it's stretched about 1,000 feet, and it can move up to 50 miles an hour. It has a photographer and a driver, and it ought to give us some great shots of the action here in the new inner loop.
You mess up a couple more times, that's where we're going to put you, Jenkins, driving that cable cam.
What do you mean, if I mess up any?
Well, I know you're going to.
It's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
It isn't a very warm day here at Watkins Glen.
laps. They pitted on lap 19 for the first caution flag, and here is Kyle Petty down pit road. Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie Irvin. We'll watch Dale Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin pit as that crew go to work on the Goodwrench Chevrolet, our pole center for this afternoon. They will have right side and left side tire changes. Likewise, the Kodak film team right behind them working on Ernie Irvin's car. A lot of activity here in the pits. Let's check in on the Kyle Petty pits. John?
We're in the middle of a 4-tire change. They are doing it just a little bit differently. They're changing the inside first, going out to the outside. It's a race here in the pits. They're already finished on the right side. They're on the left side. Kyle is down and away. A great pit stop for the Bello Yellow crew. He keeps everyone out. Mark Martin also coming down pit road.
We understand that the 28 car, Dorsey Schrader, could not get into his pit, so he made another lap. It is tight here on pit road, and the speed limit is 35 on and off. As you can see, most everyone is coming off of pit road now, having made their pit stops. And this is the shot from Rusty Wallace's car, and look at the raindrops on the windshield. Once again.
Oh boy, we're not quite halfway.
Nope, we got 6 more laps to go before we reach the halfway point. Now, watch pit road, and here comes Schrader in the 28 car. And either he doesn't see it or he just says, I'm sorry, it's too congested, I'm going to make another lap, but he didn't stop. So Schrader stays out there as the rest of the field has completed their pit stops. And Jerry, why didn't Dorsey come in?
Well, apparently Dorsey was said he could not see the sign on pit road, and so that was a miscue as far as being able to see. Not accustomed to all the congestion when he runs a Trans Am or GTO race that you normally have in Winston Cup pit stops. But it could turn out to be a plus for him because they have told him just moments ago on the radio to stay out. They're discussing it right now, and because they are feeling some rain sprinkles here in the pits, they said stay out, stay out, stay out. We're going to try to make a decision here momentarily as to whether we want you to pit or not. But right now, we're going to leave this thing if we can.
Well, he isn't at the front of the field.
But I believe he's leading the race.
Is he?
I believe so. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to tell who has been lapped and who has not been lapped. But
well, you're right. Most of the cars in front of him were probably lapped cars. So, yeah, our early indication is that Schrader is leading the race and therefore picks up 5 bonus points. And every one is very, very valuable at this point. Now it appears as if Dorsey will come into the pits. He comes off of corner number 11, and yes, indeed, he does drop to the inside and head toward his pit behind Richard Petty and the others. Jerry, he's headed toward you.
Well, exactly, Bob. It was decision by committee down here in the Haviland pits. At first, they said we need to stay out and possibly pick up those bonus points, but the gamble was just too high. They decided to go ahead at the last minute. They said, we'll call you in and go ahead and make our pit stop. Let's not roll the dice too early here. We may not get rain. It's looking a little brighter back over the east of us here. So the Haviland crew now working on Dorsey Schrader's car. We're under caution for the second time today here in the 7th annual Budweiser at the Glen. Back with more road course racing on ESPN after this.
Professional service, a friendly face. That's your Big A Pro.
Big A, that keeps your car running right.
A digital classic. The final round was rained out. There was a sudden death playoff between the 2 co-leaders at the end of the second round, Mike Hill and Walt Zimbrisky. You can see that following our NASCAR Winston Cup race, or if time doesn't permit, we'll of course have all the information for you on SportsCenter this evening. We have completed 40 laps, and we're going to go at least one more lap before we go back to green flag racing. This caution was brought out when Derek Cope's car stalled up in turn number 3. And we understand that, again, several positions around this 2.4-mile racetrack are reporting raindrops. And as we jump inside Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, we can see that, indeed, there is moisture on the windshield. Grading where you are, Benny? Benny is down in turn number 1. But apparently the mic isn't working. Maybe it's waterlogged. This has been an unusual day in terms of precipitation and weather. Now, this is very important. Look at the Fram Field standings here as we're 5 laps away from the halfway point. And you know the rules. If we complete halfway and NASCAR determines that we are in a rain situation and cannot finish the rest of the race, it will be called at this point. So these drivers that are running up front here may be in a very good position.
Yeah, they could be, Bob. It's raining a little bit out here in my position right now. Not very hard, certainly not as hard as it did earlier today, but it wouldn't have to rain much harder to keep a long caution, and then, hey, we'd be in darkness before too long here.
Yeah, that's one consideration, of course, a NASCAR will have. Will we be able to complete the full distance before darkness sets in? This is the in-car camera on Jimmy Hensley's machine. The 28 car, according to our NASCAR scoring, driven by Dorsey Schrader, and of course Davey Allison will pick up all the points, is currently in 6th position. Although he did pit, didn't he, Nick?
Yeah, he did pit, Bob. Okay. So he's way back in the field now, back at the...
He was 6th before he entered the pits, and that put him back. That's the new inner loop, and Ned, really, there hasn't been a whole lot of action there today.
Not really. I talked to a number of the drivers after their practice and their qualifying here, and what they thought might happen there. Several of them said, you're going to see more action there than you ever saw in turn 5. But really, we haven't seen. We've seen some passing. We've seen a little bit of bumping between Bill Elliott and Wally Dallenbach coming through there and a couple of other cars, but nothing major. We haven't even seen a spin out through there today, so I don't know if they're being extra careful or if they just adjusted to it that way.
Well, only one car has had to drop out of this race as a result of crashing, and that was Todd Bodine. He came in contact with the tire barrier in turn 10 that resulted in our first caution, but Todd was quickly out of the car and okay. And the yellow is going to continue out here at Watkins Glen because of rain showers.